Gamer's Garage.
Can't stop the train, baby. Woo!
Everybody, welcome to the 31st episode of EV Gaming's The Losers Bracket, brought to you, of course, by the Gamers Garage. Huge show, as always, today. In fact, this might be our biggest event ever. Oh, wow, that sounds like MLG talking about Raleigh. We got a full preview of that coming up later in the show. A few guests are going to be here to talk about what's going on in Halo, Smash Brothers. Jerry, what are we going to be talking about first?
I don't even know where to begin, to be honest, because the first thing is, no, this isn't going to be the biggest MLG turnout ever, but you know what? We're not even going to start there. Let's start with happy news. Let's talk about winners, because I will talk about losers later. Let's talk about winners. First thing I want to talk about is this weekend, for those of you that were not able to attend New York, the World Cyber Games had the Samsung Mobile Challenge, and we are joined today by the winner of the Samsung Mobile Challenge. Many of you may know him as Goldenboy or GoldenboyFTW for the win. We're joined by Alex Mendez. Alex, how are you this fine day?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to have you. So tell us, when this was first announced, I know that you're in competitive gaming, but it's a surprise to see you come onto the mobile gaming platform and give this a shot. Talk about how you first heard about it, and then what made you say, you know what, I'm going to go after this.
Well, a few of my friends actually came over for a barbecue. A few people like, Seltzer from Ultimate Gamer, my friend Jason Barbosa, they all came to a barbecue at my house. And then randomly, my friend Jason Barbosa receives a cell phone call from Aaron Hassel from WCG. And then he, passes me the phone. He's like, hey, there's an event going down at the Samsung Experience. Figured, that'd be a good idea for me to go. I mean, I always wanted to go to LA. And, I just went for it. And here I am.
So, Alex, a lot of people may not know your own gaming background. So tell everyone about your own gaming background, both competitive and even before you were really into competitive gaming.
When I first started, it was all RPGs on the PS1, and I was addicted to it. A little Pokemon on Game Boy. But then from there, I kind of just went on and ventured into competitive gaming because I was a football player, and, I kind of got hurt. So my brother bought me an Xbox, brought me Halo 2, and then from there, I just kept on going, and I got addicted. Started playing game battles, got an Xbox 360, started playing Call of Duty 2, moved on from there to MLG, because naturally, like everyone, MLG bought game battles or whatever the case is. Kind of kept on going with Shadowrun, and I was a huge Shadowrun player. I think from there, I kind of just fell right back into Halo, like I naturally would have assumed. I did a few Modern Warfare 2 tournaments, but that game, I'm not a fan of it, so I stopped.
You're not alone. You're not alone there. I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
For those that are Call of Duty fans, everyone's optimistic. I did get news today, for those that may not know, that the next installation, Black Ops, actually will have support for dedicated servers on the PC side. And that's usually an early nod to competitive gamers that they're going to give some support. So I'm optimistic that that disaster that many of us know as Modern Warfare 2, that'll just be something in the past. So let's talk about a little bit about who you are as a person. I understand you're married, and
yes.
Let's talk a little bit of what you do.
Well, I'm a social worker by career. I'm 22 and I'm married. Just doing the everyday day-to-day things of a married husband, going out, shopping, helping out around the house, things like that. Not much excitement there. It's like it's almost like living two different kinds of lives, where I go out to these events and, boom, there I am, Goldenboy. And then I come home and it's like, hey, I'm Alex Mendez, the husband. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little weird. Being 22 and married is, you get a lot of question marks above people's heads often whenever you tell that to someone, they don't assume it. And then when I tell them what one of my strongest hobbies are, and then they're kind of shocked even more. But like, really, you play video games? That's interesting. And then I'm like, yeah, it's my favorite thing to do. I guess most people grill. I play video games.
Yeah, but you know, the really good part is that that's a sign of a good marriage. Is one, all the advice. Have you ever noticed everybody who tells you got married too soon is single? Did you ever notice that? And they're always the ones who, when they're single, they're not real happy.
Yeah.
So it's always like taking advice from the wrong people. So I think if you're happy and it sounds like your wife's really supportive and understands how much you love the game, I think that's a fantastic place to be.
Yeah, she's a Halo 3 player, believe it or not. She's pretty good. So got to give her credit on that. I mean, we haven't done a one-on-one, Guardian match yet, but it's okay. We'll get there soon.
So the Samsung experience in New York City, a place I'm quite familiar with. Tell me about game day and how you felt going in and who you knew was going to be there and you kind of expected to be your competition and how you feel about the results.
Game day was pretty interesting because when I got there, I was actually like one of the first ones there. Usually when I go somewhere, I like to be on time. And they advertised 10 o'clock, so I was there at 10:01. I got there, Game Over was there. He had told me, yeah, you're the first one, so just go ahead and, start a round. And he had, just did a little tiny run as well, high score, because it was a high score challenge. It wasn't a one-on-one thing. It was when nationals, that's going to be one-on-one. But this was just high scores. He had told me, yeah, just, hop on the station and go ahead. So hopped on station. My first run was 62,000 plus, like a little change there. And they kind of were really impressed. Paul Brewer came out. He was like, "Oh, Goldenboy," and I was like, "How you doing?" Because I never actually met him before, and we just had like some casual conversations in the past. But this time, he was really interested. If I was going to be going to LA and whatnot, and if I would prepare for it. And I actually took it really serious. Most people, they look at it like, oh, it's just a cell phone game. You know what I mean? But whenever you go into something, I always prepare for it as if I'm going to like, an MLG event or a LAN tournament or something like that. I always prepare. So for this one, I had a Palm Pre, which I hate the phone, but I had to, download the game and practiced on there. And I did the track and there I go. I posted up a great score, 62,000, very satisfied with it. No one was able to crack the score the entire day. And then, they told me to do it again. They said, hop on the station and just run another one. So I did it again, and I ran 65,000. Once again, no one was able to catch up. A few of my friends were there, Shadosha, Hodges, Robski, Seltzer came by as well, Ghost, and we were all there, and they were asking me for tips and advice. And those were like the people that I was more or less worried about getting the first place because, they're naturally good gamers, so I figured that they would be okay. They were struggling at first, and then I told them about, hitting debris gives you more points. I told them about drifting and all that, and I gave them, a lot of my tools to success, but, I still perfected it, at least to the best of my ability, and I posted up another great score, 67,000, and that one was just for fun. Decided to do it again, like toward the end of the event, because they allowed you to do it as many times as you felt, you could, because if someone broke your score, you're allowed to defend it. So I did it again, and I posted 69,000. I would have done it again, but then WCG guys came out and said, "You're done. Don't worry about it. Just relax."
That was all they were going to give you, huh?
Yeah, they said you're done.
You know what I like about having you on the show is that you do a good job of bringing your friends along with you. It's like the subtle shout out to everybody that was there, which I thought was really great. So to all of you that he just mentioned, you should thank him after this show. You should thank him for mentioning your name. That's very good of you, Alex.
Yeah, there was actually one person that scared me the most, my friend Jason Barbosa. He was pretty up there on the leaderboard, but he was working the WCG event, so they didn't allow him to continue. But he learned it really fast, and he took the least amount of practice out of everyone there. So big shout out to him, just saying.
Outside of earning a trip to Los Angeles to compete in the Nationals, what else did you win at this event?
Oh, well, they gave me a very nice Samsung notebook. Very nice. I actually was using it at my brother-in-law's house recently. It was really responsive. Loved the netbook. I always wanted one for myself. I have a computer rig, I play StarCraft on it and whatnot. But, something nice to have so if I travel in the instance of going to LA, I can bring something, small with me like a netbook. And I said notebook, but I meant netbook. And I could bring the netbook with me. Very nice little laptop, and it works for me as well. Very satisfied with that.
What kind of phone did you play at the Samsung Center when you guys were playing Asphalt 5?
It was the Samsung Galaxy S brand of phones. It was like the Captivate, and I think the Wave was the other one. I'm not too sure. I know they were the AT&T and T-Mobile phones. I'm a Sprint customer, so the Sprint one's actually coming out pretty soon, and I intend on buying that phone. I'm not going to lie. It was a really, really good phone. Not simply because I was there playing it, but I've used a lot of phones. My brother he's a big, like, phone buff. He really is into cell phones, and he's always, like, getting the latest and greatest. And he told me, hey, you should check it out. You should check out the phone because they're actually really, really good. They're kind of like the iPhone mixed a little bit with the Evo 4G. And I just went in, tried it out, and I was amazed by it. It was absolutely beautiful, responsive, had the Android background thing going on. 'Cause I'm not a big cell phone guy, but I know a little bit about it. Just saying the phone was beautiful. Worth the buy. I understand you bought a phone.
I sure did. And I looked at 3 phones. I looked at HTC, looked at the iPhone, looked at the Galaxy S series. In Chicago, to be honest, T-Mobile doesn't have a great reputation. I think it depends on where you live. So not my favorite choice. So, obviously Verizon, Sprint don't have the model out yet. I really, as soon as I grabbed it, I was like, gotta have it. And
it's a good phone.
It's an amazing phone. I'm still downloading apps, still learning about all the applications and how to use them. So, but yeah, I'll be bringing that to MLG Raleigh this weekend. You'll all be like, ooh, look at my new phone. But yeah, I'm really glad to hear that you had a good experience. And judging by the video they released, I thought that was an awesome video.
Yeah.
So have all those people playing, and it looked like it was, as usual, but run really well.
Yeah, that was actually created by my friend Jason Barbosa. He was working the event, and he did the video first try. I mean, the video was great. He had shown me the music the night before. He was like, hey, do you think this music's good? And I was like, yeah, actually, I really like it. And then I saw the video. I was very, very happy with it. Thought it was cool.
I think VV Gaming retweeted it because it really was a good video. Well, I want to congratulate you, Alex. On behalf of everybody here, I want to say good luck to you at the Nationals. And thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Over the weekend, we released a really special interview with Michael LaBelle, a.k.a. VVV michs09. Hopefully you guys got to check that out. But we actually are bringing him back on the show today because we would like to hear about his experience this coming week. He'll be going to Brazil for the WCG Pan American Games. So, Mike, welcome back to the Losers Bracket, my friend.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for having me again.
Good to have you back. By the way, I wanted to mention, I thought this weekend on Live on 3, not only did Live on 3 do a great job, but you were fantastic on the show. So congratulations. I thought it was a great performance by you, sir.
Oh, thanks so much. I guess I winged that the right way.
I have to say, you did absolutely awesome on the show. They did really great during the interview, and I wish I would have known about the condom thing earlier. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. But let's talk about the Pan American Games. For people that don't know, tell us about the process, what the Pan American Games are and what they represent, and what you hope to do down there.
Well, the WCG Pan American Games is international competition where they take the best players from North America and South America and even Central America, and everyone meets up. Usually it's been like in Mexico or Brazil, etc. the last couple of years, and it's a big competition. The WCG also runs, like, I want to say, a European event also, and they do an Asian one, and this is the one with all the Americas in it.
Now, Mike, I know we talked before the show, and you want to go down there and basically try out a bit of a different strat. So you're going to go to a major international competition, and this is why I like you as a competitor, and you've thought ahead and you've thought about how you want to prepare for the world finals, and you're going to use the Pan American Games as an opportunity to do that. Do you want to explain, without giving too much away, what your plan is?
Well, for this upcoming FIFA 2010 campaign on the PC, I've chosen a different formation than in the past couple of years in hopes of, trying out something new and taking my game to the next level. I'm using the Pan American basically as a trial run because winning the national, even though the Pan American is an international event, is more important for my image, and for gaming, I think it's better for me to be able to say that I was the best in the U.S., and hopefully I can take that experience from the Pan American, which will be my first time playing this game on land against, like, proper competition, and carry over to the World Final and create a great result.
So how long will you be in Brazil?
Well, I will be in Brazil from Thursday till probably the end of the weekend, and then I'm going to be flying back to the U.S., and life continues.
Awesome. On behalf of VV Gaming, I want to thank you for both the way you represent us always, but more importantly, I thought this year you've done some great stuff for Samsung. You did great on Ultimate Gamer, even though I know you wish you could have been on the show longer, but I still think, to be honest, it was an exciting first round, as I said before, and it was close. And now you're going to be going to Brazil, and I know you got back from South Korea. So all in all, I think as far as an American gamer goes, you've been able to do a lot of things that I think are a huge opportunity. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give anyone or anything you want to say?
For everyone who follows VVV and the VVV community, keep a lookout for blogs, videos, etc. I'll definitely be bringing my my video camera with me to Brazil, and hopefully I can upload something on YouTube for everybody to watch, get an idea what an event looks like. So just keep an eye out, everyone.
Justin, this is the big weekend, the 50th event in Major League Gaming history. What do you think?
For what they're hyping it up to be, I don't see the turnout being as great as what everyone's saying. Kind of seeing it as being a disappointment in the long run, honestly. But from what I hear, the Smash numbers are actually quite low for this event. But we have VVV Cheese here to actually explain that in detail for us.
Yes, we do. Cheese, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show again. I know I was here last week. You're not sick of me yet, I guess.
No. Rapture, you're not sick of him, are you?
I'm very sick of all of you.
Oh, Rapture, what's wrong? I know what's got you so upset. It's the Brawl numbers are down, and that's got you sad, Otter, doesn't it? Is that true, though, Cheese? Tell us. Tell us what can we expect at MLG Raleigh for Brawl? I want to know.
Well, you can't expect what you saw in Columbus from Smash. Numbers are way down. And, at Columbus, we almost maxed the bracket. We're at 251 out of a possible 256. As of right now, we only have 142 registrations. They're actually pushing for door registration, which is ridiculous.
So, they haven't filled all the spots. You said it's about 142?
It's at exactly 142 as of pre-reg closing.
And you said that they're pushing for door registrations. They just sort of made an announcement somewhere, and they said, you know what, you can register at the door. Is that what they did?
They did. They posted on the Smashboards thread and on All Is Brawl and all the other listing pages that door registration is available. They put it in big caps, bold letters in the thread title, door registration on August 27th, which is not something they did previously. So I guess they're begging for people to show up at this point. I don't know why.
You know what you tell them? You tell them that if they want you to show up, when they do an MLG Raleigh preview video, that maybe they should show one or two shots of Brawl, maybe a screenshot or something. Because if I were the Brawl community, I wouldn't be too happy about being omitted from the 50th preview video as if you don't exist.
Apparently we don't. We are not at all in that video. The only mention we get in the entire video is that the video is tagged Smash and Brawl on YouTube. That's it. No shots of M2K, who's won 2 straight events. No shots of the super hype. Tekken 6 comes and begs us to get loud for their finals so they can record it, and then they just ignore Brawl in the preview.
It's pretty shitty from what I've seen, what they did with the preview where they show, best Halo team, Instinct. And what we're talking about, by the way, guys, if you haven't seen, there's a hype video, a trailer for their 50th event at Raleigh. It's on YouTube. You can go check it out. But they've showed the best Halo team, Instinct. They show the best Tekken player, Holman. But they didn't show the best Smash Brothers player, VVV Mewtwo King. Well, maybe it's because, it's from that god-awful VVV Gaming that MLG just figures as a thorn in their side. But hey, who knows? Maybe Smash just did something to piss them off too. It's a possibility, but no mention of Smash whatsoever. It's very unnerving, especially with the numbers that the events have normally drawn for Brawl. So it's frustrating.
Well, I mean, exactly. Why would you go to an event that gets no coverage and is just kind of thrown in there just so MLG can make a few extra bucks? I mean, like you guys have said, Tekken gets more coverage and everything than Smash does. Along with that, what I kind of think is that you notice that they covered every game. I wonder if it has something to do in the long run with looks. I mean, everything in MLG has always come down to looks, rather the commentating or, some of the players that they feature and stuff like that. I wonder if the Smash community has something to do with that, because I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but compared to other people, Mewtwo King he's just kind of that nerdy kid, comes in, wins tournaments. I wonder if that's influencing them not to put that into the video. I don't know.
I tell you what, I've seen some MLG videos, and the word nerd and hot pocket eating pig have crossed my mouth. So I'm quite certain that would not be the reason that they didn't do that.
Yeah, come on. I really hope that wasn't a legitimate reason. Out of all the people that are at MLG, the last person that should be classified as nerdy or not viable to be on a camera as Mewtwo King or any other Smash Bros. Player. And even if that's the case, they could have at least mentioned the game. You know, if people are really that ugly, you don't put them on camera. But there's gameplay.
I really
don't. I don't think I don't.
I'm not sure why the omission. Maybe it's whoever did the video. Maybe they don't have good footage. You know,
I mean, could have been with the media thing, because remember, Nintendo still doesn't let them get a stream. Still, which is still mind-boggling. I'm very annoyed about that still after 3 events, or after 2, and going into the 3rd one. Maybe it could be the fact that Nintendo is so, like locking the door on the media that they don't want to mention it in case Nintendo gets pissed off, considering that they're sitting on their high stack of money and they still keep tabs anyway.
No, that could be it. But you know what? We're going to beat up on them all tonight. It's just we can't get away from it. But let's talk about the actual players. Rapture, Cheese, give us a breakdown. Who should we expect to do well? Any potential of surprises? More importantly, with the low attendance, who's going to be missing?
The people that are missing are those who are filling MLG's wallet. I know every pro player is appearing. Most of the top players you expect to see are appearing. Other than that, I mean, I'm not looking at any surprises here. Mewtwo King is going to win. I would bet a lot of money on it, especially after not winning Apex. He's going to win MLG. There is no chance he's going to let anyone beat him. He went home, he practiced, and he's back in shape. I've seen him do it. I saw him at SuperCon. He's in shape to play Brawl. He's not going to lose. He's not going to lose to Larry again. He's not going to lose to Ally. He's going to win. And if he drops more than 2 games all tournament, I will be shocked. Shocked. Absolutely shocked.
This doesn't say much, but he was just in Chicago, and he didn't drop a stock to anyone the whole weekend at all. I think he's going to come ready to do what you're saying. Whether or not there are surprises, any given day anybody can do well, but I think he will be prepared.
Mewtwo King is going to win. That's that simple. Second place is up for grabs. Personal prediction is Larry, but we'll see if that happens because Ally might be back in shape after that Europe odyssey he went through. Mike Hayes, VV Mike Hayes, I'm looking at him to do well. He's been playing really well. He had some great upsets at SuperCon. He has just been on point. He almost took Mewtwo King out of SuperCon. So that'll tell you where he is right now. Havoc will probably do well. Again, BBB Havoc, he is consistently up there. He'll place well. Other than that, it's going to be the same old. I mean, there's going to be one low-tier hero. I mean, we had Shaky, we had San. We're going to have one more low-tier hero. I don't know who it'll be. Maybe Will, Broccoli Kong. DK's due. I don't see anything crazy happening. It's going to be the pro players finishing in the pro spots once again. It's just how it's going to be at MLG. No one's done anything crazy lately.
Rapture, what do you think? Any surprises?
No, I'm not very hyped about this at all. And Cheese was right on point with that. It's not going to be surprising. It's going to be the same stuff that we've been seeing. Like, I was really hyped for Apex, and no matter who won, it was just a really great tournament. And the fact that MJ2K didn't win was a surprise because of, how good he is as a player and the fact that, Brew did so well. But you don't have the Japanese players there. You don't have as many people there. And you get to a point where, okay, how many times are we going to watch the same people win all the time? I really hope there will be upsets. I would love for Big Lou or some player who doesn't play well or against, high tier characters or someone who just doesn't place as high because of the character they play as to place really well. If San wants to go Ike in the whole tournament and get third, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that. But we're not going to. I really don't think we're going to have that kind of player there, and unfortunately, which would sort of spice things up. But even then, we can't watch it. I mean, the most we see is words, so you can't get as hyped unless you're actually there, but not many people are going there in the first place.
Well, let's see if your prediction is true. We'll find out this weekend when the Brawlers get together in Raleigh, North Carolina to see who takes the pot of money home, so to speak. So let's move to Major League Halo's main game. Spike Mouth, what do you think? There going to be surprises there?
I think there definitely will. Not really in the top 2. I still think Instinct and Final Boss will still end up being in the top 2. But I think one of the big ones that I'm looking forward to is seeing Straight Rippin'. Mainly because they haven't really had much success over the past couple of months as their new team. I kind of think, and what frustrates me is I don't think they'll place in the top 8. However, they'll still keep a top 8 seed for championships. So they could do poorly and place, I see them placing in the top 12, honestly, because their teamwork just isn't that great. At the recent LAN they just had, Straight Rippin' only managed to win 16 games while everyone else finished with at least 40 wins. So I don't know. That's gonna be kind of a bad team, I think. But I don't know. We have Adam here, VVV IceVayne, here to join us.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, it's good to have you back. It's actually always good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So what do you think about this whole tournament, Adam?
I think there will be quite a lot of upsets, hopefully, for the bracket. I think Instinct's having too much turmoil inside their team to really come together and place first place again and do the three-peat. I honestly think Final Boss will probably take their first tournament in a long time and really show up a lot of people. I think Triggers Down, if they get on fire like they were doing at the LAN for the previous two LANs, that they could possibly break out a top 3 finish as well. It's just depending on whether or not they can stand Hysteria's bitching or not.
So how do you guys think Straight Rippin's going to finish?
I think Straight Rippin', they really pulled together on the last day. I think they nitpick a little too much in their gameplay of more individual fights instead of what they can do better as a team. I think they could place top 6 if they're working together and not nitpicking. If they're nitpicking and getting down on each other, then top 12, even the top 16 finish.
Yeah, I feel that, they're not going to do too well at the event. I think that they'll end up finishing top 10 to top 12, mainly because it doesn't seem like they've ever really fully connected with each other to have that good enough teamwork to take out these top teams.
Yeah, I follow a lot of the pros' Twitters, and I know that T-Squared, I think he's commented that, funny people, I think he said, funny how people think Straight will do poorly in Raleigh. I may just have to go 20-0. Daddy T is going to regulate. He's so cool. God, if I could just be like him. But anyway, yeah, it appears that a lot of people agree with you. A lot of people are not predicting that Straight Rippin' is going to do that well. My question is, do you guys think that the live stream that's been going on for Red Bull with Walshy and the teams, do you think that is influencing people's opinion?
I definitely think these live streams and rebroadcasts of these LANs are happening is definitely influencing a lot of people's decisions on where these teams will place. But the one thing that a lot of the community is not seeming to realize is that the 6-team LAN is over, obviously, but they all those teams have 3 days to get together and fix on what they want to fix. So either from going to practice or just talking about what they want to fix. The Carbon and Heaven and Earth LAN that's going on, I mean, they'll almost be flying out from the LAN straight to the tournament. Whatever they got fixing, they got, a couple more days of gameplay to fix it. But I definitely think the LANs and rebroadcasts of these LANs have been influencing their decisions on where they'll place.
Yeah, now with having these streams and these rebroadcasts of all these LANs that are going on, it definitely influences people's decision more. I mean, before it was just based on which team you liked more. Now people actually sit down and they get to watch everyone's gameplay from everyone's point of view. I think this is what's really deciding who places well. And, from last event, a lot of people were pretty on with their decisions, a couple upsets, but these LANs are starting to influence everyone's decision now pretty big.
So let me ask you guys this. Do you think that just like Brawl, Halo attendance will be lower?
The Halo attendance will be lower, even though they're saying it'll be their biggest event and have a 272-team bracket. I think they're just throwing that number out there just to look big and bad. But I definitely think the attendance will be very low.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've talked about this last week, and it'll definitely be lower. Like I said before, a lot of these teams are just going to use this as getting a free pass to a Reach event, like a reserve pass. So they'll take their Raleigh pass, they'll use it towards a Reach event, and then they'll have a reserve pass on top of that. So that means 2 passes. So on top of that, I think it's just kind of a number they're throwing out there just to make it seem like this is supposed to be some big event. But in reality, I only see about maybe 140 teams showing up rather than the 270 plus that they're talking about.
Well, let's get your guys' predictions. Let's start with you, Spikemouth. Top 4. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Instinct, Final Boss. I say Ambush. I mean, they seem really on right now. And I think I'm going to go with Carbon, honestly, in that 4th spot.
Ooh, that's some interesting picks there. What do you think, IceVayne?
I would definitely put Final Boss as winning the event. I have Believe the Hype coming in 2nd place, 3rd place being Instinct, and TD coming in 4th.
So you think Triggers Down is going to get that 4th spot, huh?
I think if they low-key on their bitching, they can definitely key themselves together and do some great things.
And how do you see yourself doing? And then how do you see your team doing? How well prepared do you feel? And how well do you feel about your team?
individually, this feels like I'm going to be playing the best Halo of my life. I've been just putting in a lot of hours into the game, and especially just working on my individual skill. My team-wise, if our communication's doing pretty well, then I predict a good finish. I really don't give myself and my team, where we'll finish, but obviously we're going in to win it.
I know that, with our Heaven and Earth plan that we had before Adam back in Active Rush wasn't that great. But do you think now, if you guys had a better structured land setup, do you guys think you guys would have landed, and do you think that would have influenced your decision, or do you guys feel awfully prepared to the point where you'll place in the top 8 with just practicing online?
I think just practicing online, you can be really prepared for the event. A lot of people just skip practicing online because of connections, and some people not having the best connection, just like status quo. They never play online because they all hate online, and so they just stick straight to LANs. So, I think you can get the same amount of practice. Obviously LAN's better, but I think if we would have had a better LAN, we would probably be more interested in trying to LAN other teams.
I know that you've probably been watching these LANs recently. Do you think that having somebody's point of view at a LAN like that is causing more stress for a team rather than not being streamed live over the internet?
I don't think it's causing too much stress. Obviously, with the Red Bull LAN, they're only streaming Walshy's point of view the entire week except for Wednesday, I think. Other than that, I don't think it really causes too much stress. I don't even think at the 16 LAN, they didn't even know half the time who's streaming and who's not. I think it doesn't really reflect anything on the gameplay.
All right, guys. Well, we've got your predictions. Things are going to, I guess, be what they will be. I don't know if Halo 3 is necessarily going to have the attendance that MLG claims. We will find out here very, very shortly. I do want to bring up another issue, and I'd like to get everybody involved in this issue. So I sort of want to let everybody know that Goldenboy, Alex Mendez, is stuck around to be part of this conversation. We're going to talk about something that's gotten a little bit of attention, mostly because Razer, a company that makes products for PCs that has just recently ventured into the console arena, has made a controller, and Major League Gaming has announced that that controller will be banned, and this has caused a little bit of controversy. So I want to sort of set the stage for those of you who are not familiar with the story, so you sort of have the facts. SteelSeries, who's our sponsor, one of their competitors is Razer. I don't want to sound biased. They're a legitimate player in the field. I don't think anywhere near where SteelSeries is, but definitely a player. And they have marketed a controller. And this controller has 2 buttons that are programmable. Because of that function, Major League Gaming has banned it based from, and all we have is what's written on the forums, based on the fact that these buttons, in MLG's opinion, could easily be hacked. And even though they're supposed to be used just as programmable buttons, for example, a feature that would help a player who's right versus left-handed use that controller, MLG feels it could be used in such a way that it could be hacked, could turn into or be used as a turbo button, and has thus banned the controller. What has gotten this to be a little bit more interesting has been the comments made by Razer regarding the controller and the ban. Razer has sort of come out and say very clearly that MLG has never had one in their hands. The founder of Razer guys, I think his name is Robert Krakoff, basically said, and I'm quoting him, "The truth is that this kind of stupidity only makes people want one even more, plus providing me with endless laughter. Also, it is so comical when they closed the thread while the community was raking them over the coals. Laugh a minute operation." So that was Razer's response. Again, as I said, from what the MLG forums said, just to give you their side, it was KC said this, Killer KC. But KC said, sorry to burst everyone's bubble, but the controller will be illegal simply because of the 2 programmable buttons. We spoke to Razer about this and told them that it would be illegal if they kept the extra buttons. I guess it wasn't worth it for them to make a version without the extra buttons. The big issue with extra buttons is how easy it is to mod the controller without us being able to monitor it. Modders will be able to turn the extra buttons into rapid-fire buttons or a macro like RRX. We cannot simply check every player's controller to make sure they have not modded it. Sure, someone could do that now with a Microsoft controller, but by doing that, they are removing a default button on their controller. People pay a lot of money now for modded controllers with extra buttons that will rapid fire or macro. The Razer controller would make it impossible for us to monitor this on the circuit. Just to make it clear, there is no conspiracy here. I wish Razer would have listened to us and cared enough to make a version without the extra buttons, but they didn't. So, gentlemen, what do you think?
All right. Well, what I think, and this is going to be good, is that MLG quickly came out and made it sound like that they were some big league company. And what sparked my interest in this is that Razer quickly came out and laughed at them because MLG made it sound like they're the only league in the world that would be able to use an Xbox 360 controller. So if I was in their case, I mean, I would laugh at MLG as well because what do I care? MLG is a poorly run league anyway. I'd much rather worry about WCG or leagues over in Europe or in Korea rather than MLG. This coming from myself, who is a hacker, has modded consoles, JTAG Xboxes, Halo Reach for that matter already. These wired controllers can be hacked as well, from what you've mentioned already in the little article. But what you don't know is you don't need to remove or add buttons to this. Basically, for these wired controllers, what a lot of modders tend to do, so therefore they can use it in competitive play, is that they can hide these buttons in the back of the controller underneath the sticker where the screw goes. Like, they don't need to have this out in the open on the front of the controller. So if you're really going to ban a controller because it has a couple extra buttons on it that are actually meant to do something good for the community, and I mean, come on. Razer had to have sat down and thought about the fact that, we want to make sure that this controller can't be hacked or modded in any way, therefore it can be used in leagues. Obviously, or else they wouldn't have thrown it out at the idea that's a competitive controller. If you're going to ban a controller like that, then you need to sit at every event, take everyone's controller, every event, and thoroughly inspect it to make sure nobody's bringing in a modded controller. I mean, honestly, who's going to show up to a big-name event with a modded controller? I don't think anyone has in years.
I don't know. I'm personally trying to think of how to defend MLG on this one. How can I think of a way to say, well, 2 extra buttons is unfair? But it's really not in some ways because, the games themselves give the button swaps that you can use. So you can't change it unless you do hack it. And if you do, well, MLG, if they really have a problem, they got to check the controllers. They're the ones that have the problem with it. They have to check. There's no excuse for that. And then I guess their easy way out of it, well, let's just ban them. I don't know what that's a display of, but it's definitely just a lack of care. They just want to get rid of it because they don't like it. They did the same thing actually with Smash. With Brawl, you can use 4 different kinds of controller settings. Mostly people use GameCube controllers, which aren't made anymore, but people still use them. But one of the other ways to use it is to use the Wiimote and the nunchuck or just the Wiimote itself. However, MLG banned the use of the Wiimote because of how it connects to the Wii was supposed to mess up, the whole event, obviously. They never tested it. They never thoroughly made sure that this was the actual case. They just banned it. Similar to this, and they really had the controller in the hands. They just banned the controller. So again, another example of MLG just, taking the short road, taking the shortcut, just not really caring. All right, we're just going to ban it because we don't want to deal with it. And that's not really surprising from MLG to be, at this point, not surprising from them.
What I find funny about this is that when you have a review coming out from a league, from somebody that's, talking about banning something or something to do with the league itself, and that name comes out as Killa Casey, not a professional name at all, then that's when you start to question how professional is this actually? Because who would take honest advice from somebody that comes out in a major article named Killa Casey? He can't even use his own name.
Well, I would like to say, in regards to the wireless thing, I could tell you personally from going to a lot of events, and I don't know if it's like this for the Wii, because I personally don't own a Wii, but I can tell you that with wireless controllers, things get a little trippy sometimes. I went to a LAN in New Jersey for Modern Warfare 2, and they didn't advertise, bring wired controllers, so everyone brought wireless controllers over there. Some wired, some people had the play and charge kits, but there were instances where people would hit the guide button, maybe by mistake, not, on purpose, to be a jerk. But, the guide button will be hit, the controller will be turned on, and whatever controller was last mapped to, it would totally screw up the entire unit. So I kind of can understand on that regard. But as far as and that's in relation to what you said, Rapture, about the Smash thing. as far as the Razer controller, I feel like Razer did a great job of like trying to make a controller cater to, competitive and professional gamers, because really no one is out there making this kind of, this kind of hardware for people to use. I kind of think it was a little premature to just go out there and ban it immediately. Maybe some testing could have been put into place. But, like you guys said before, I mean, I guess things are just rushed in for, the sake of not wanting to take the time to do it. They are limited in manpower, I suppose, so that's a possibility as to why they decided, not to have the controller at events. But it doesn't explain all the other controllers, like people bring their painted controllers in and whatnot, and that could totally be modded. So, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, with the wireless controllers, a lot in tournaments that do allow them, they tell you, take the batteries out, make sure you can't turn those on unless you're using them, so there's no interference. And I guess in a larger event, it's still, harder to control, but not a lot of people use those kinds of controllers, especially in Smash, to the point of where it become a problem. I just feel like they're taking the shortcut on this again with just they didn't even test it. I mean, I would understand if they tested it and they showed results and evidence of why they feel that they shouldn't allow it at the event. And then I'd be like, okay, they have their reasoning and they're perfectly entitled to it, and that's okay. But they just banned it. They didn't, once tested, they didn't ask for people's opinions, nothing. They just banned it. That's not how it should be. If you're running a tournament for the community that's, advocating the tournament, advocating the controller, and wants to see it used, and then just go against what they're saying or just not, regard it at all, that's not the best way to do business.
Well, I think also what it comes down to is I think MLG's a little mad about the fact that Razer didn't actually listen to what MLG had proposed to them. MLG had already stated to them before the controller had been released and while it was being worked on, is that those two buttons need to come out in order for them to be able to be played in the tournament. And then Killer Casey posted that, that's one of the reasons why they're being banned, is because they didn't kind of listen to what MLG had to say. But when you look at it, is that Razer also released, they have a standard edition controller as well, which I'm going to guess, they didn't really talk about too much, but I'm going to guess that it doesn't have those buttons on it. So why there's still this ban, I don't know. But, you think about it, MLG has Mad Catz now, which they're going to make the controllers. But those things are going to be about $120, and it's just going to be a regular old controller. I'm not going to spend $120 for a controller like that when I could get like this tournament edition controller, which could help me out in many ways for different games, for only $50. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, let me jump in and throw two things out there. The elephant in the room that nobody's talking about is this ban have anything to do with Mad Catz and the deal they signed? I know that a lot of people talk, and we're not going to pretend here that people don't talk, but people who have attempted to negotiate with Major League Gaming, I've said it on a podcast show before, I'll say it again. Mad Catz paid a lot of money to be the sort of official MLG controller. They paid for that. Again, Major League Gaming, I suspect, banned this controller. Let's just put it like this. I'm quite certain that their relationship with Mad Catz made it very easy for them to ban the controller. What I want to throw out there, and what I think the fundamental question is, what is MLG's responsibility when they conduct a tournament? Follow me here. If you were to ask me to do something for you, like fix your television, I think you would want to make sure that I not only repaired it, but I did it safely. So all things that go into fixing a television become my responsibility as a person who fixes it. Such as all things that deal with running a tournament fall into the hands of the tournament organizers, the people who host the event. This is my opinion, and really, again, I'm just going to throw it out there. This is Major League Gaming's 50th event. And in 50 events, I'm not seeing great growth. I'm not seeing consistent sponsors. And I'm seeing, once again, when someone wants to contribute to this space, I see obstacles and the highest bidder wins. Everyone who I know that has ever had a Mad Catz controller, any product, from Mad Catz, it's junk. Pure junk. I've been approached by sponsors over the years in VEV Gaming, potential sponsors. And if they're junk, then we're not going to deal with it. I would never market junk to players. We work hard to partner with a company like SteelSeries. And I don't believe Razer is anywhere near the quality of SteelSeries, but Razer is legitimate. They make legitimate products. They have supported legitimate teams. They are a player in this space. You saying that they don't get to come in because they put 2 basically programmable buttons on their controller? To be honest, what Spike Mouth said earlier is very true. Modders can hide what they do. So the real question is, shouldn't Major League Gaming, in hosting what they consider to be the best gaming event, the one where they claim to always have the best settings, the right way to do it, shouldn't they go the extra mile and check controllers? So before everybody goes, oh, well, we can't. Yes, you can. I don't know who throws up their hands and says, I can't do this. Just like you should have seats. So it could be that you could check controllers. Or you could do like other sports do. Let me give you an example. In the National Hockey League, there is a certain slope, an angle, a curve, as it's officially called, you can have to your stick. Your stick cannot be curved more than a certain curvature in professional hockey. At the option of the other team, if the other team suspects that your hockey stick is not curved properly, they can ask the referee to measure it. And if they're right, that player on the other team gets a penalty. If they're wrong, their team takes a penalty. This is not just in hockey. So you could do the same thing with controllers. And in a matter of fact, it would be one more thing a good coach could do and build coaching infrastructure in. But does Major League Gaming do that? No. They miss the boat again. And I'm going to be honest, I don't want to see anybody except SteelSeries products used because I love their products and I think they're the best. However, competition is good, and Razer is certainly not in the category of Mad Catz. They are better than that. And because of that, not allowing a product where the engineers who worked on it, I am certain, have more experience and better quality control than anything I have seen or have heard of from Mad Catz, again shows me that Major League Gaming sells out the community, sells out the quality that their players get just to generate money. It doesn't have to be that way.
Well, something that Jerry just brought up is with selling out the community and stuff, and this is kind of a different subject, but it relates to it. I think with the Smash, with Nintendo having Smash and Capcom having Street Fighter, I think this is exactly why they're declining. They don't want to go with MLG. Is because they do such a bad job running these tournaments for the games, is that they don't want to put up with the crap. They don't want to hear all this crap coming back to them and then having to deal with it. It's just not worth their time and effort. Those 2 games, Smash and Street Fighter, are big enough games to be picked up by any league in the world at any time. They don't need some poorly run league that just sells out community and products to host their games. It's just not worth it.
First things first, Mad Catz, we already know what the quality of their products is. I broke like 7 of their controllers when I was a kid playing PS2 games. Secondly, though, there's a lot of money involved in this decision. There's no way that most of the people, I think, in MLG wouldn't prefer to play with a Razer controller over Mad Catz. If there's going to be a modded controller, then yeah, you probably won't be able to catch it without looking at it. If there's going to be issues, MLG should check the controllers. It's just like, let's say during baseball season, if someone's using drugs, there's drug testing. Controllers, hey, there should be controller testing if need be. It's just a stupid situation, and it's more MLG logic, and I'm definitely sure that this is all about the money at the end of the day.
If they want to check these controllers, all they have to do is when a team checks in, they have that huge line of teams that are checking in, they just pull the controllers out. All right, let's see your controllers. They do a quick inspection, hand it back to them. Simple. It'll take like a minute for each team.
Actually, Pokemon does this. Pokemon always makes sure that they check those hacked games because you can hack your DS and the game itself. They got to check both. And they do that very fine with more people than at the MLG events. Just saying.
No matter what anybody says or does in a business sense, I'm always a fan of some kind of transparency. And in this case, again, they just shut the thread down, and it seems like a no-brainer. Like, look, you had all of this community who definitely wants to see a better controller. I mean, it's great that companies are interested in playing in this field. I know SteelSeries interested in playing in this field. That's why they've released the headset, and don't be surprised if SteelSeries releases its own controller. But regardless, Major League Gaming has to be able to explain to the community what has happened. Meaning, why are you not going to enforce checking all controllers? Or B, why don't you have a rule like you do in hockey or baseball where teams can police this themselves? And if somebody, force a ref to do a check? I mean, there's a lot of ways that this could happen. But just to outright ban the controller, hey, if there's a reason why, again, let us know. Because I think it's been said here tonight, and I think this is going to also lead to something I want to discuss as sort of I won't call it my rant tonight. I'm just going to let's call it the facts of life for Major League Gaming. So Major League Gaming, here are the facts of life. You're about to expand with StarCraft 2. And I'm going to tell you something. The top PC organizations in the world, they have names. SK Gaming, Fnatic, Evil Geniuses. I guarantee you they will not have their contracted players sign one of your pro player agreements. I want you to know this. They will not do that. You must learn to play well with others. You must learn that you are hurting, that's right, hurting the growth of American competitive gaming. You have done things throughout your history that have made it difficult for entrepreneurs, for companies to play in this space. You will not own it all. It is never going to look like that. So whatever dream you have of being the one ring to rule them all, it's not going to happen. You must work well with others. You do not need all of the rights to the players. There are things you can do that mimic professional sports that will work in this space. I believe you have deluded yourself into believing you must take certain draconic measures because you're young. But really what I think the truth is that Sepso and Sundance are still little Halo boys at heart. And every bad word said about them and every threat from another team or clan or the fact that someone might steal one of their players, you're just short-sighted. I wasn't a big fan of their little CEO from AOL either. I didn't think that helped them either. And thankfully, Bromberg and his whole team is no longer at Major League Gaming. Because that was a blind suit who was a flunky at AOL, and I felt a flunky at Major League Gaming as well. But now that it's back to you two clowns, you need to grow up a little bit and stop getting nervous about everybody else. Trust people. I would love to sit here and say thank you. Thank you for all the hard work. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for allowing us to compete at these events. I would love to do that, but you don't play well. And you don't tell people important information. And you create a culture where there is this sort of good old boys network, where if I don't get information from Casey or Nexi or somebody I know on the MLG staff, I kind of get left out in the dark. As far as I've known Sundance to do one interview, and that was live on 3. And in that, oddly enough, he said, I would love to have all these competitive products at Major League Gaming events. But then when the tire hits the pavement, when the rubber hits the road, you don't deliver. And you don't explain why. Your reasoning does not make sense. And what happens? You whittle away your support. When you claim you sold all these passes and it will be the largest event, at the end of the day, that is not true. Just face it. Just face whatever the truth is. If there's any one company that I know that needs a lot of humility and needs to really take a step back and start partnering with people, it's Major League Gaming. And believe it or not, your best partners could have names like SK Gaming, Evil Geniuses, BVV Gaming. Those could be some of your best partners. Because the one thing that companies like this know how to do is we know how to market ourselves, we know how to market our players, we know how to get the word out there, and we're passionate. We've sort of drank the Kool-Aid of loving competitive gaming. All you have to do is make it easy for us to do what we do, which is create passion for the thing that keeps you alive.
So that about wraps up one of the largest episodes of the Losers Bracket we've done to date. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the listen. Big thanks to Gamers Garage for hosting our show. Also, big thanks to our sponsors, SteelSeries, Control Freak, MusicSkins.com, and Custom Ink. VV Community, thanks as always for your love and support. Please give us some feedback. You can call us 206-350-7352. You can also shoot us an email at mailbag@thegamersgarage.com. We'd love to know what you think, and we can also put you on the show if you have any questions, or we'll read your emails, all that good stuff. Hit us up.
Rapture, I want you to do me a favor and sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
No.
Yes, sing it.
No.
Sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
No, why? I want to know why.
Just do it.
No.
If you don't sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, the otter dies.
What otter?
Don't pretend.
Is it the one with AIDS?
Help me, Rapture, don't let me die.
Yeah, I know you're lying. All otters speak Spanish.
Por qué? Rapture, Rapture,
Shut up.
mi papi.
I'm not singing. No. And that's a poorly done Spanish accent. I do not believe you.
That's correct. Now sing the song.
I don't wanna.
You know, at this point, I'd settle for Ba Ba Black Sheep. They have the same melody.
What the fuck? I don't know the words to that song.
You can do it.
Just do it, Rapture. Just trust us.
Tell me why.
Because I asked you to.
I can't
Please
trust you.
sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
Fine, we'll look up the lyrics.
The lyric? You don't know the lyrics? The whole reason he was saying no is because he doesn't know the song? Are you kidding me?
I gave you a link in the fucking thing. That's why
I don't trust Wikipedia. I'm going to kiddiddles.com.
What?
Kid Diddles?
He just said diddles.
What kind of site is that?
That sounds like something some fucking Herbert the Pervert does to kids. Kid Diddles.
Oh my god. Kid Diddles.
What is wrong with you? Rapture, just sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star,
Oh my
please.
God, that was the first thing that came up on Google. That's the site that came up on Google, I swear.
I'm not clicking that.
Not a chance in hell.
Oh my god. Okay. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. There we go. I did it.
Now, was that so bad?
That was so bouncy, so happy, so lively.
I know.
Oh, I can sing the whole song now. You want me to sing the whole song? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. When the blazing sun is gone, when there's nothing shines upon, then you show your little light. Twinkle, twinkle through the night. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. In the dark blue sky so deep, through the curtains often peep, for you never close your eyes. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, till the morning sun does rise, how I wonder where you are. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are.
I don't know what to say. And I think what's really funny is you went from not wanting to do it to like jazzing it up. Like now you actually like. There is actually one really like. There's some haunting Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars out there. I think it's actually a Swedish death metal band that does like a Twinkle, Twinkle.
We just experienced Lord Jareth death metal.
We did.
I think that means it's time to end the show. So we'll see you guys next week. Take care.